What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Man Cave. We are Corey and Hamp, and you listen to the Much About Nothing podcast, the show where we give expert takes and good-hearted debates. We talk ball and anything and everything else. Today, we will be talking about the great abortion debate. If you got something to say, please put it in the comments. If you're new to the pod, greetings. Hit the subscribe button, turn on the notifications, smash that bell. If you're already part of the fam, welcome back. Please like, share, and comment. Hit the thumbs up for us. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Corey, let's get into it.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. How are y'all doing this evening? I hope y'all day was blessed. I hope everything y'all needed to get done got done in a timely manner. But you're on with us, me and my boy Hamp. Yeah, so we're gonna start this out with a much anticipated debate that hey, we even throw blows on this plenty of times. I don't like it because Hamp know all my arguments. I like when I surprise the person off the with the quick comebacks, but he ain't heard it so many times. I'm pretty sure he ain't prepped for these jumps. Got a little statistics over there waiting, but listen here. When you're right, you're right. So you ready. So let's get this thing off and popping and start this off. Pro life or pro choice. Where do you stand? Go ahead and spam the contact comments with where your stance is. Let us know.
All
So
right,
let's go ahead and hear your stance.
before we get into this very difficult debate, why it's top and fresh on my mind, I want to thank the people for their early attendance and being
Yo,
on time, punctuality, and thank you everybody for joining in. What up, Crystal? What up, Vontae? What up, Todd? What up, Tiff? What up, Logan? What up, Tawana? What up, Crystal? What up, George? Thank y'all so much for rocking with us. All right, now, so pro life or pro choice? All right. I myself, Corey, I am a pro choice person.
I know.
And you, my friend, are what?
I am pro life. Very easy. Pro life.
Ha, my man Kevin in the building. What up, Kevin? All right, so let's explain this, Corey, because you know, let's explain this to the audience. Uh, our stances and how we feel about certain things before we get into this.
All right. Like the word says, pro life. So I take the stance that I believe in all. Well, I'm going to take this stance now because a lot of people might have a whole lot of different arguments. So I'm going to take the stance of I believe mine typically goes like this. Um, every human being has the right to the life. Every human life has a right to life. And every abortion takes a human life. That's my stance. Every human life has a right to life. An abortion takes a human life. So you have to take down one of those stances. You're either gonna have to say abortion doesn't take a human life, or every human being doesn't have the right to life. That's my stance. At the end of the day, I am pro-life. At the end of the day, do not think in any case a child should be snatched out the womb and killed and murdered. Like at the end of the day, that's what it is. So I'm not gonna get into all that, but I'm gonna let y'all bring the arguments
Okay,
before I strike
all
them
right.
down.
Now, you gave your premise. That's your premise for it.
Yes.
All right, now I'm gonna give you my premise before we get into this thing. My premise is abortion. Thank you very much, Tip. Abortion is a medical procedure, and medical procedures should be consulted with physicians and the people that are seeking the physician. I think I have no right to impede upon someone's medical condition or a medical procedure. That is the premise that I have on it. I believe that it is your body, and you and your doctor have the confidentiality to do whatever you want to do, and that's how I feel about it. All right, now we can go into it. Now, are we gonna go into the pros and cons of each one, or how do you want to go about this thing? Because guess what, buddy, I am ready.
We ain't got a lot of time. I mean, we all know. I don't think it's no pros and cons. At the end of the day, I'm on the side of pro life. I any argument that you can bring up, I don't support. I don't even think that argument that you made right then was a good argument because at the end of the day, what what people keep failing, let's not remove this. Because what he just said is a medical condition you should be able to do with your body. But every single time that a pro-choice enter this argument, they remove the fact that a human life is being taken. It's not just their medical situation. It's a baby involved in this too. So if you keep removing that fact, it's an easy choice saying, I should be able to do whatever I want in my body. But what about that life that is inside of you? We're talking about taking a human life. There's no way to justify that without removing the fact that a human life. Every time a pro-choicer comes out, they try to remove that fact from it. Like we just going over here telling a person they don't have body autonomy. You, stop doing this. I got a problem with what you do with your body. No, I have a problem with you killing a human life. That's the problem. If you can tell me, if at the end of the day, a woman want to go out there and say she want to remove remove her uterus out, I don't care about that. She can do whatever she want with that. But the minute you tell me it's another life in there and saying I have the right to take that life, I say no. At the end of the day, that's the I ain't gonna get too much more argument with you at this time. Let me calm on down.
All right, get closer to the bike here, man.
All right. I'm
All right,
sorry, you
all right.
can't hear me.
I can hear you now. All right, now, are you saying that there's no situation that you can think of in your mind in which abortion seems to be the right answer?
Huh?
You can't think of a single situation in your mind where abortion seems to be a legitimate answer.
No.
You
No.
can't think
At
of
any
one.
time.
You can't think of one thing.
No. I
Okay.
don't think. I'm telling you right now the stance I'm taking, even though I mean morally I'm taking this stance, but even though I do have a middle ground, I can find middle ground, but I'm not taking it in the middle ground because there's plenty of people in the comments that want to argue that side. At the end of the day, I'm saying regardless of it, I can take the sole stance that all abortions are wrong. And that's what I'm gonna take right now. Even though I do not believe this. Of course, I think, and I can make arguments for rape, incest, and all these things. Even though I think it should be provisions for those situations. But if I say let's make provisions for those situations, they try to give a person an inch, they try to take them down. So what I'm going to do is make this same stance. All
Okay.
abortions are wrong, and I want anybody that think want to hear the topic of why I believe that I got arguments against every single one that you could state. And at the end of the day, morally, we got to say morally, if murder, like, remember my first stance, all human life has a right to life.
Mm,
Abortion ends a human life.
okay.
You have to attack one of those arguments. If
Okay.
either I'm wrong about all human life having a right to life, or abortion doesn't take a human life.
Okay.
So
So
one of
my
those
thing
things,
is
step by step.
if you're gonna be so obtuse as to
Mm,
where you're gonna sit here and say that you can't think of a single situation
no.
in which abortion
hmm
is an okay call.
I'm choosing to make that stance right now. I
Okay.
don't have to.
Listen. Okay. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna ask you another question.
hmm
All right. On the other end of the spectrum. So I would assume that
We got a
you
lot of
are
comments
against.
here too.
I know we about to get into it. We're gonna at the 15-minute mark. We're gonna clean these comments up
All right, all right.
at the 15-minute mark. So what about how do you feel about the death penalty?
Huh? You
The
know I'm
death.
against the death penalty.
All right.
I'm
So you
against the
against
death penalty. I'm
you
right to
against
life
it?
there too. I do
Okay.
not think an individual should be having their life. I don't think the government has a choice on that. Is my wife calling me?
Nah, she ain't calling. All right.
Oh.
So you said so. All right. So all right. So
hmm
you're pretty consistent there. My next question: if the pregnancy is going to cause a risk of death to the mother,
hmm
if the pregnancy will cause because see one thing that you're not talking about is
hmm
there's such thing as non-viable pregnancy. Let's say that
hmm
if she has a tubular pregnancy, something that will be a high risk that could cause her to lose her
hmm
life. You're
hmm
telling me she has her life doesn't matter at this point.
Is it hold on. At the end of the day, is the baby living? Is it alive?
Yeah, yes,
Is it alive? Is it a
yes.
live, viable baby?
In
The
your
baby's living.
by the
Is
definition
it a
what you
human
call
life?
life,
Is it a human
yes.
life?
If the
Is it
definition
living?
you have, if the definition you have
Yeah.
is that that baby is alive because you say a conception
Yes.
All
At
right. So
conception.
so the answer to the question
Is the
is
baby living?
yes,
Does it have a
yes,
heartbeat? Is it living? Or is
yes.
it
If you
dead?
say by your definition, Corey,
Mhm.
if you're saying that at conception that
Yes.
that is a viable pregnancy, right? And she has
Yes.
a. So my question to you is,
So you saying, are you saying a dead baby is alive?
that's not what I'm saying.
Oh,
Listen,
all right. Is it living?
maybe I'll slow it down, or either you listen too
You don't have to
fast.
slow it down. I'm thinking you
All
try,
right.
I'm
So
just think you trying to swindle. I'm not stupid. I'm
no, no, no,
trying
no,
to
no, no.
correct you and make sure you get
All
everything
right.
you
So
saying right.
so what
I
I'm
want to hear
saying
you
is,
correctly.
what I'm saying is,
It's not dead.
in the case in which the baby is not
Viable.
no, I'm not saying the baby's not viable. I'm saying that,
Okay.
say it's a tubular pregnancy. I'm
Okay.
saying that the baby is not, the conception didn't happen in the proper place
Mhm.
in the woman's womb. And so this pregnancy,
Mhm.
it becomes a high risk to the
Mhm.
mother, in which there's a high likelihood that something bad could happen to the mother if she goes on with this pregnancy.
It's a high likelihood. Is it a chance that the baby and the mother might survive?
I don't know, Corey. I'm just saying that when a doctor comes in and says the best thing that you should do is remove this baby,
Hmm.
I think the woman has a choice.
So at the end of the day, one life has to be lost, regardless. Are you saying what I'm trying to ask is one of them going to die,
You're trying to defend
regardless?
an argument. You're trying to defend an argument.
Of course, that's what I'm up here to do. What I'm up here to
Yeah,
do, not
yeah. And
defend the
so,
argument.
so what I'm saying to you is,
What I'm up here to do to
in this
concede the
situation,
argument.
Corey. No, what I'm saying to you, no, you're trying to defend a stance, not the argument. You're trying to defend your stance.
Yeah.
You understand exactly what I'm saying. In this
No, I
situation,
don't.
if you do not abort this baby,
Mm-hmm.
this wife, this woman's life is
What
at
life?
risk. Yeah,
What
she will.
is it at
Yes.
risk or death? Is she going to die or is she going to live?
Do we know?
Huh?
You right, Corey. Logan has a good answer. It's a chance you could win Russian roulette. There's
Is
a
a chance.
chance. There's
Well,
a chance.
obviously, I want to say personally, I don't think anybody takes the stance, and I asked Tiff to do this. If she could find anybody in the world, in our government, that pushes the fact that they want to see, they're against abortions at risk to the life of the mother. I told you that is a false narrative pushed by the left, but no conservative has ever said that they're against abortion when the mother's life is at threat. Y'all
Okay,
right
I
now
just
got a
asked you a
phone.
question.
Y'all
I
can Google
asked
it.
you a question.
Huh?
I asked you a question, Corey. I asked you a question, and I
Mm.
said, "Is there any scenario, or is there any way that you think that abortion should be a woman's choice?"
I
And
think
your
that,
answer is no. And I'm asking you a question right here. It's a very simple question.
yeah, I think that
And,
should be a woman's choice. Then. How about that?
okay, all right. So there is a scenario. All right.
Yeah,
So
that's a,
we have a
yeah.
scenario in which, okay, all right. So now tell me this now.
All right.
In the fact, because there's a few things that I don't think that you guys take in consideration, but we're gonna go with some simple facts here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some simple facts.
Till please name me the exact person that said they would be against it. Name that person, because I don't know anybody that supports that argument.
Okay. So I'm glad that we're able to get to a point where now we're identifying that there is a medical component when it comes to certain things.
Mm-hmm. It's a moral
Okay.
component
Okay.
to
All
some
right.
things too.
Okay. All right.
Can't say it's all medical. It's moral
Okay.
too.
Okay. Now, when it comes to morals, right? When it comes to morals,
Mm-hmm.
why is it that your morals have to be in place, have to be input on another human being?
At the end of the day, we all input our morals onto human beings all the time. At the end of the day, let's say this right now. Let's say this right now. In Africa, they have a tradition when they take a child, one of their childs, and they take their clitoris out. Africans believe to do this. You can look it up right now. But that is illegal in America. Now we could say that's our moral standard, but Africans believe in doing this. So we input in, input our morality onto them. And you would agree with that. Do you think that's okay? That's our morality. That is wrong. But that person think they are right by doing so. but you gonna
Okay.
push your morality on them all the same. So all they're saying that I'm bad for thinking that my morality should be heard. Do you don't think your morality should be heard? You don't
No.
vote to the way that you think. So you
No.
think that person should have the right to take that child's clitoris out?
All right. So all right. So because you gave a very loaded question. All right. It's not about the political
I was
aspect of it.
called
I
slow
want
when
to
I
remove
asked
it.
questions about the situation.
No, no, no. What I'm saying is, I ain't say you was slow. I said I need to slow down what I'm saying. Now,
Okay, let me
when it
slow
comes
down
to
what I'm saying.
okay, so taking out the political aspect of it, right?
Uh-huh.
Now, you okay? So you're talking about
Hmm.
do I believe? And I've never given this thought, so it's the first time that I've ever given this thought. Uh, do I feel like I should ex- be able to dictate what their traditions and everything else that they've been
Hmm.
doing for
Their
hundreds of thousands
morality,
of years,
their
their
morality.
moralities? I have
Mhm.
no place in that.
So you think they should be able to take out a woman's clitoris,
I
their
have no,
child's clitoris if
I
they
have no
wanted?
place. I have no place in it. Until I get more educated on that, I'm gonna go ahead and stay out of that. Because if they've been doing this thing for, if this is a
Any law,
tradition.
let's say any law. It does not matter whatever law. Right now, you do not have the right to take a knife to stab me in my chest. You might
Mm,
think you're morally right to do that, but I'm saying at the end of the day, any law that's in place is a law that's imputed all morality onto another individual. I don't care what law you make up. You believe
okay,
in laws. At the end of the day, you believe in some kind of system in place.
I
So
definitely
that's what
do.
it comes down. Does
I definitely
is
do.
at the end of the day, the question is abortion morally right and should it be a law against it, or is a abortion morally wrong? I mean, well, opposite way. Morally wrong, it should be a law against, or
I
morally right, and it shouldn't be a law. At the end of the day, we all impugn our morality. At the end of the
okay.
day, that's what we do. That's what you vote for.
All right, let's clean up. Let's clean up some of these comments here because it's moving here,
I
boo.
told you it's gonna
We
back
didn't we
back.
didn't chose a
Let's
debate
fight
here.
some of these Jones down, man.
All right, so here we go. Starting with the first one that I saw.
All right.
Corey, do you agree that women will get the death penalty over this? The mother is a
No,
human life right.
I don't think anybody's even attacking the mother on this thing. What they're saying is the doctor does not have a right to remove that baby. If the doctor does that, then he is breaking the law. He is murdering the child. We're not convicting the mother. At the end of the day, we're saying that doctor has no right to go in and take that baby out. If he does so, he is committing a crime and he will lose his license and he will go to jail. That's the way it runs.
Okay. All right.
He is the one that's going in and doing the crime.
Okay. All right. We're
So we
going to the
prosecute
next
the
one.
doctors.
Okay. Here goes the next one. What about a mother that finds out her baby inside of her no longer has a heartbeat?
Huh? I
What
don't think
about?
that's human life no more.
Okay. Does that happen? That's
Yeah,
not a
it's
human
not.
life.
It's no longer living. So
Okay.
yes, you're not killing anything that's already dead. You're just removing it. So
Okay.
it's dead. It's not.
So
That's not. I
so
don't think that's an
okay.
argument at all.
So okay. So what about this real quick before I go to the next question? When
Hmm.
a person has something happen and their heart is still beating, but their brain is in a vegetative state,
Hmm.
we leave them plugged up forever.
Hmm.
That's your answer.
What do you mean? You can leave
Yeah.
them blood up forever. Yeah.
I mean, what I mean, so you don't think that it's right to unplug it at any point? You think
What
you
do you
leave them in
mean?
a veg? The question is, if their heart is still beating, right?
Oh, I didn't. I thought they said is their heart is stop beating
I'm asking if a person is in a vegetative state
and their heart is still beating.
and their heart is still beating,
Yeah.
but their brain is nothing. They're in a
Vegetative
vegetative
state.
state. All right. Do you believe a family has the right to unplug that?
I don't know too much about that, John. Like
All right,
the
it's a simple
vegetative
question.
state. Does
And
that
a
anybody
veg.
ever can? No, I'm asking. Come on,
All
can
right.
I ask questions about stuff I don't
All
know
right. Go.
about? God,
Okay. Yeah.
do I got
Absolutely.
it?
Absolutely.
Like if I
Because
don't know,
I feel like you. It's not more about trying to get to a answer here. I feel like it's more
I'm
about
sorry, I
defending her.
don't. Can I? I can't give. I'm trying to honestly answer your question, but I need more information from you to ask. Has a person ever came back from a vegetative state? Has
I'm
that
sure.
ever happened before? I don't know.
I'm sure at some point it
I don't
has.
know the sciences of it. Does they have a chance to come back?
I'm sure that somebody at some point probably has,
I think if a person brain dead, I don't think they have any chance of coming back, like at all, right?
but they still got a heartbeat though.
It still got a heartbeat.
So it's a human life under your definition.
Nah, I never said a heartbeat constitutes a human life. I'm saying that heartbeat to that baby is not beating. That baby is dead. Right or wrong? Is a baby living or not? That's my. We know what living
Okay.
is. Is it living or not? If the baby is living, it should not be aborted. And we know exactly what I mean by this. And I feel like you try to get around. You
Okay.
know
All
what
right.
I
All right. All
mean.
right.
That if the
Okay.
baby is in the womb living, that it should not be aborted. If it's a dead baby, then okay, I don't care how you do it. If it's brain dead, or if it's dead, if it's no longer in the womb living, then
Okay.
no. I think that's just moving it out, and it's nothing to do about it anyway. It's just getting the body out,
Okay. All right.
the dead
All right.
body.
We'll go on to the next one. After Crystal, it was Kevin. He said pro life if you're using. He said he is pro life if you're using abortion as a means of birth control. Facts, Kevin. I definitely agree with it. I do not believe abortion is birth control.
Oh,
Okay.
never knew that.
All right. Todd, the doctor, the woman, and the baby are in that room.
Hmm.
Okay. Oh, shout out. What's up, Vontae? I ain't see you sneak in here, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
He one of the first people in, man.
conception, cells divide into a human being, and end product. All right. So she said rape and incest, pro-choice. If the doctor feels the woman could die and the family decides to terminate the pregnancy,
Well, let's stop
and
right
some
there
at the
because the rape and incest joke is an interesting argument. Like, right? So you got that's a less than 1%. Most people branch their argument on that fact. What about rape and incest? That's less than 1%. About 800,000 abortions happen a year. I think it went down kind of last year. It's like
oh,
890
oh
in
yeah, to me,
2020, the last time it came out.
you know what this is the crazy thing, right?
Hmm.
Do you know that abortion just rates period since 1981? That was the peak of abortion. That year there was about 29.3 abortions for every 1,000 women that got pregnant between the ages of 15 and 44. The rate is now under 11%.
Hmm.
Never, not, now not 11%, but 11.4 out of 1,000. That's like 1.4%.
Hmm.
Like abortion is not the it's not the thing that we're saying it is. It's
What
not
I'm
that.
saying is, and I hear you compartmentalizing this and saying, okay, it's not as many, but it's 800,000 babies dying a year. At the end of the day, I see 800,000 babies dying a year. So I don't care how you say
Okay.
it's a percentage of the population is less. It's 800,000 babies dying a year, and I
Okay.
don't think it's. I think it's a moral issue. It doesn't just because you lessen it doesn't make it morally right for me. If it's one person that dies unjustly, I'm going to say that is wrong. I'm not going to change it because of
Okay.
one person or it's 100
I
people.
I, I
It's
definitely
either wrong
I
or
definitely
it's right.
okay. Let's go to the next one.
So hold
All
on.
right, George.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
oh,
go
you can
ahead.
go ahead. My bad.
Yeah. So George, you brought up. He said so. Conception starts as cells dividing. The spark of life theory.
Yeah.
Drinking kills cells. Should alcohol be illegal?
What do you mean? Kill brain cells. Conception starts as cells dividing. Conception is not when
You want to?
conception is not
Hey.
just a she want to call in. She has to send me
Yeah.
the
She said yeah.
what's the name? Did she send me the email so I can send her the link? We can work in the background. Give her your phone so she can
Yeah.
text me and I get on.
Yeah. I'm about to say.
Again, y'all, if y'all didn't get it on the what's name, if y'all want to come on, text me at CoreyHolman@gmail.com. I type it in the chat. If y'all want to come on, have y'all words, let me hear from you. Yeah, so
Go to your computer. All right, so going back to the next one. All right, so what he's saying is, if you're saying that when you say conception is when the spark of life, when the cells start dividing, that's when
it's
it's a
more than
human
one.
life.
It's more that's going on than just sales divided, and I don't agree with that
And
logic.
that
That it's just a clump of sales. At the end of the day, it's a lot of things that are going on. Life has taken place. This distinct human being has a different DNA. Is it would never come again. When conception happened, it's a new DNA that has been birthed into this world for the first time. It will never come again. It would never be nothing like that
mm,
ever in this earth
okay,
again. When you take that out of this world, it'll never be another thing like that. That's the difference.
okay.
And when do you
I don't.
believe life starts? And then I'm gonna ask everybody
Okay,
here. When if it
Okay, yeah,
doesn't
because
start
we.
at conception, when does life start?
All right, so let's get these. So let's get through the comments. I mean, these comments real quick.
Yeah.
So a baby doesn't have a heartbeat until after the third week of conception.
Mm-hmm.
So when do you think? So what do you think about abortion before then?
Still don't think about it because that baby will have a heartbeat. And I'm gonna base it around this.
The baby.
Hold on, can I get my argument? The argument is this:
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
if a human being was, let's say, on the table lying dead, but we knew in 3 more weeks their heartbeat would come back, is the right to kill that human being. Like you laying on the joint right now, but we know in 3 weeks for sure, with certainty, your heart will beat and you will come alive again. Do you say kill you? Ask yourself that right now. If you laying on the table right now and your heart was not beating, but we knew for without a shadow of a doubt in 3 weeks your heart will beat. Should they just kill you? You yourself, everybody in the chat, ask yourself that. Do you think that's right? And if that's right, then abortion's right. Let's go on to the next.
Okay. All right. A baby in the womb is our most vulnerable citizen. It is entrusted in the mother's care to take care of, just as we do our kids until they can fend for themselves.
Mhm.
You okay?
That's the argument that people try to make. That when people try to make the argument that the baby can't survive on his own, well, neither can my son. My son is 9 months years old. If I leave him outside with nobody there, he's going to die. He can't survive on his own either. He is dependent on me outside the womb, just like he was on his mother inside the womb. He is dependent.
Okay. All right. Tawana says we don't need a law for that. Just like if we're determining if the plug should be pulled on a terminally ill person.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need a law for that. Okay. A woman, okay. George says a woman should decide if she wants to end it. So be it. That's between her and her conscience.
All right. Hold
What about
on.
a
Hold
mother?
on. Let me.
Okay.
Oh, you want to go with that?
Okay.
I'm going to attack
Yeah.
that argument.
Oh, go ahead.
All right. So saying, and that's the same thing I'm saying. So you saying the woman has sole choice over whether she is capable of murder or not. Then she can do what she want to do, and that goes back to a time where we saying that this life is so less valuable than our lives that we have the right to kill it, and that goes back to a time of slavery when white people thought they had the right, that our lives were so much less that they had the right to end our lives. So you saying mothers have the right to end a baby's life. So ask yourself this question: can a mother kill a daughter that's 1 year old? Why is it different? Is location the difference? Is it because 6 inches is the biggest difference? I can kill you 6 inches outside the womb, but if you get 6 inches in the womb, I can't kill. So where's the line for you there? Let me ask you that. Where's your line? Because it must be location where the baby is located in the womb, outside the womb. The mother got a choice whether she want to commit murder or not. So I mean, nah, man, I don't agree. I don't agree. I don't think any. I think that's a moral argument. I do not think it's right. I don't think anybody has the right to take human life. If it was men and they the only people that have babies, then a man does not have the right to take human life. Nobody does. Now the white people in
Okay.
Jim Crow South,
Hey,
not these.
okay. I sent you the link real quick so you can send it out. All right. So check your phone real quick, Corey. You heard? All right.
Yeah, I'm
So
doing it
all
now.
right. Here you go. Here goes something else. Right. Here goes something else.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to think about this.
I'm not getting it. They send it to my
Okay.
email.
No, I just sent you a text.
Oh, I ain't getting
All
it.
right. So
You didn't send me those.
all right. So yeah, I sent it to the wrong cord.
Oh.
All right. So here goes the thing about abortion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is not something that I want to debate here. This is not something I want to debate. This is something right here that I just want to make a comment and just to hear what people think about it. Abortion is one of those things that we found out in the past that people are going to get abortions regardless. And if whether you believe it's a spiritual thing, whether you believe it's a organic thing, or whatever you believe it is, if a person wants an abortion, they're going to get an abortion, and it's much safer to have it in a controlled practice with things that you can control and not control. Now, what is your take on from that aspect of it? Because it's going to lead into my second part of this. Do you believe people are just going to stop getting abortions because somebody says that you can't have it in the state of Virginia? Because we've tried that before.
Now,
What will happen?
I think that along the line saying, okay, we should allow abortions just because people gonna get it anyway. So should we just allow murder because people gonna murder anyway? Should we allow drunk driving because people just gonna drink and drive? Just because you make something legal does not, or you make something illegal, don't mean people just gonna start obeying the law. Of course, people will break laws, but you don't get rid of the law just because people gonna break them. We don't say, okay, I'm pretty sure it's people that drink drive every day, but we don't say, okay, you know what, they drinking and driving, so let's legalize it. So they gonna do it anyway.
Okay.
No, we still make a law that says this is wrong to do because it's a moral
Okay.
stance. I'm saying it's morally wrong to take human lives. If people gonna go ahead and do it anyway, then they breaking the law. But don't make the stance and just make it right just
You know
because
this.
for convenience. What are we doing here?
The. And I did send it to you again.
I know I
But
got it now. I'm
if
trying to set it.
all right, but see, here goes the thing. This is the thing that I think, right? I think what makes humans, because you keep saying a human life, a human life, a human life, because we wouldn't say this for a cow or a pig or a
Hmm.
dog, or we wouldn't have this debate because
Hmm.
we're talking about a human life, right?
Hmm.
So, and my opinion is, what makes humans different from all other animals is this thing called consciousness,
Hmm.
the ability for me to see myself and know that I am something.
Hmm.
You get what I'm saying? All right. Now, I know that I get what you want to say, like when there's sales and this, that, and the third. Like at that point, I don't think there's any reasoning or anything even possible. Now I know you're gonna say, "Oh, when a baby is born, he doesn't have anything," but no, a baby is a conscious thing. Like I understand a conscious thing. If you can take that baby out and it can breathe and it can think and it can feed, like then that is a viable baby. Like she asked a question, like if at what point? Because how about this? Are you against like Plan Bs?
Plan B is the one that takes a is it after sperm has met egg. So contraceptives, the ones I'm gonna get is the ones that get rid of the pregnancy after conception has happened. Because at the end of the day, that's an abortion. So if it prevents the sperm from meeting the egg, I'm all for those contraceptives. It depends on which one it is, and I'm pretty sure Plan B is the one that gets rid of after sperm. It's the same thing. It's getting rid of it's abortion.
Cause see, this is one of the things that a lot of times, like non-medical personnel, don't really understand. Plan B is nothing but a high dose of birth control.
Hmm.
It's a high dose of birth control, and it doesn't do anything. It prevents ovulation, so it does not interrupt an existing pregnancy. It prevents ovulation.
So the
So
pregnancy
my
has not
point,
happened yet.
it prevents ovulation, so you don't ovulate. So what
I'm
you
not
need to
saying
know
has
is it's not a.
sperm met egg yet. That's an easy question. How the sperm
I'm
met the
gonna say
egg?
no. I'm gonna say no.
All
I'm gonna
right,
say
then
no.
I'm perfectly fine with that. I have no problem against that
Okay.
contraceptive. We're gonna be bringing Tiff on to hear our arguments. I'm pretty sure she's gonna come in straight heated and fine off on all cylinders. Welcome to the chat, Tiff. Welcome, welcome.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep. Yep. We can hear you well.
Yes,
What you got to?
Oh, y'all breaking up.
I can hear you.
I can hear you very, very well.
Yeah. You
Okay,
sound
well,
good. So go ahead.
I want to go back on a couple of things.
Hmm.
Okay, so a few things. Corey, you said that they're not prosecuting the women, but that's exactly what they're doing. So
What
in
woman
states
has been
like
prosecuted?
Alabama, they want to give the women the death penalty.
Let's see what that is.
The
I
death
haven't,
penalty.
I haven't seen it.
And not only that, what they don't want to talk about is in these laws and trying to, I guess, ban abortion, they're throwing language in there about birth control, contraceptions, and things like that. So now you take away the birth control, which is simply a hormone that women take. Sometimes they need to take it in order to balance their hormones or certain conditions they might have, like PCOS, endometriosis, or they may take it in order to help them get pregnant as well. Or even teenagers, they may want to take it so they don't get pregnant, but they want to ban that too. So you think that's something they should take away from women?
No, I see. At the end of the day, I don't think it's all contraceptive, because at the end of the day, we want people to prevent these pregnancies in a safe and manageable way before it gets to abortion. But the dilemma is this: after sperm has met egg, we're saying that's the same thing all the way. Now, some contraceptive is getting rid of the baby and forcing abortion. So they are the contraceptives that we saying. They're just abortion forces. All we saying, those are the ones that's wrong. Anyone that prevents a pregnancy from happening, I don't think anybody on my side has a problem with that. Pro life,
Oh, but they do. Oh,
yeah.
no, they're saying birth control. They want women having babies. The objective is they want women having babies. And I will tell you, it is not the majority of Black women that's aborting babies.
Tiff, what
That's
I'm
not the
saying is, are
situation.
you saying every single abortion pro-life activist is in supporting of all contraceptives being banned?
I'm talking about certain states in the South, and states like Alabama, Mississippi, states like that are putting that language in there. The same crazy states that's saying that they want to put the women up for the death penalty if they get an abortion.
We saying crazy states, but at the end of the day, it's states out here that's having abortions up to 40 weeks. They crazy states too. We just out here trying to find a middle ground here. But at the end of the
Well,
day, I would say yes. I would not support that at all. If
but you
anybody's
do
going
when
to
you
say the
support
woman,
the bill. If you support that bill, you support
it's in
that.
Alabama, right? How am I supporting that bill in Alabama? What are you saying? What
Well,
bill am I
because
supporting?
it's the language, and then
What
it
language?
builds momentum when you talk like this and you say these things. But people, when they don't understand really what's in that language, and the
Hold on,
next thing you
Tiff.
know, they're
Do you?
saying get rid of Planned Parenthood. When okay, have you ever been to a Planned Parenthood before?
No.
Have you known a woman that's gone to Planned Parenthood? Planned
Yeah.
Parenthood is not just about abortions. Girls
Mhm.
can go there, teenagers can go there to get birth control. Sometimes they go for their very first pap smears, places that they would go where they may not want their parents taking them. It's
I would
there to
agree.
help women. It's not just about abortion. So I feel like it gets a bad rap.
I don't
And
think people are
there's
saying that
two
though, Tiff.
sides of this thing.
I don't think people are saying that. What are they primarily about though, Tiff? What are they primarily doing?
Women's
At the
health. It's
end
a
of the day,
medical
we're not
facility.
saying that they're not doing other things, but primarily
Primarily,
Planned
they
Parenthood
are
is
a
known for what?
woman's health medical facility.
So they're not known for
Okay.
abortion. Majority of abortion
No,
does not happen at Planned Parenthood.
well, people that don't understand them make them known for abortions.
So where do the majority of abortions take place in the United States?
Anywhere. There's many clinics that do
Not
abortions,
Planned.
not just Planned
Who does the
Parenthood.
most? Who does the most?
I would have to look up those statistics. I'm not going to just throw numbers out there without doing my
Planned Parenthood.
research.
I'll pull those up.
What supports that other than
All
Fox
right.
News? Now tell me where you learned that from. And
What I
then
learned from is
tell me those statistics or your opinion there, what were you comparing it up against?
the most
Because
of the numbers
if
I
they're the
use.
highest ones, then what are the other facilities that are not the highest ones giving abortions?
The most of the numbers I use from Planned Parenthood. At the end of the day, if I use a number, I use numbers that Planned Parenthood released. The 48 states that release their numbers, they are the numbers I release. At the end of the day, California doesn't do it, and I don't think Massachusetts is one of those. There's two states that don't release their numbers. The other 48 that do. They are the leading ones in abortion. I don't think that's any argument. Most abortion happen at Planned Parenthood. I'm not saying
Or
they the
that's just the
only
ones
group,
you
but
know
yeah.
about that's getting reported.
I can't do nothing about ones I don't know. I'm only speaking on the ones I do know. But the
So let
ones
me
I
ask you
don't know,
this.
there's nothing I can say about that. I
So
don't know. I only
I
speaking
want
on
to
the
go
ones I
back
do.
to where you were saying that a human life is at contraception.
Yes,
Is
a
that
human
you
life
said that
is
right?
not yourself.
The heart doesn't start the heart doesn't start beating at that point
That's not what I said. I say human life starts at contraception. I ain't say human life starts at the heartbeat.
at conception. But that's
At conception. When sperm meets egg,
there's
that's
no
for human life.
heartbeat. But you were saying if it has
I
a
didn't say
heartbeat,
I
that's a
didn't say that.
human life.
Did I say it's only a human life when it has a heartbeat? So it's a like if my heart stop, I'm no longer a human life. I'm no longer a human being
Okay.
when my heart starts. I'm a cat.
No, you're a human being. You just
I'm
dead,
still a human being, right? Now
but you're
life is
dead.
no
So
longer
let
in me, but I'm still a
But no,
human
no,
being.
the heart isn't even developed, is what I'm saying.
Huh?
There's no heartbeat because there's no developed heart.
Well, let's go to this. This is the same argument I proposed before. Let's say in 21, like my heart stopped, but in 21 weeks, you know my heart's going to start back up. Do you propose ending my life?
You're talking about if you're in a vegetative state.
Let's say I'm
What
in
do
a
you?
vegetative state, but you can guarantee in 21 weeks I will come out of that state. Will you end my life?
No, but what is that? That's
That's
not
the same
comparing
thing.
apples
So
to apples. That's
yes, it
not
is.
apples to
21 weeks.
apples.
In 21 weeks, we know that baby will have a heartbeat, right?
The
okay.
baby will have a heartbeat, yes, before 21 weeks, but I'm saying at conception, that is not a human life.
That's not a human life. Why not?
No, at most it's a
What is it?
parasite. At
What is
most
it?
it's a
It's a parasite.
parasite feeding off of the mother. Okay, let's be
What is this
clear what
DNA
that
though?
is.
What kind of DNA is?
The mother dies, the parasite dies. And to be honest with you, the mother's body sometimes rejects it. Autoimmune diseases, believe it or not, they attack it like a parasite. It cannot live on its own without the mother. Therefore, it is not a human. It does not have human rights.
So, Tip, when does human life start then?
Human life starts.
When? When does it start? If it don't start at
You
conception, because at the end of the day, I think human life, and then you have certain stages. You have embryo and it grows
yes,
to a child. But at the end of
yes,
the day, you're
it's more
saying
complex.
it's still a human life, though. It's still a human life throughout this whole
No,
existence. It's
at,
just at a different stage. Hold on,
no.
Phil. It's just at a different stage of its human development. Right now, it's an embryo. Then it would grow to be a
Hmm.
fetus. Then it would grow to be a child. But you saying because it is not in a certain at a certain level that you call valuable, that it's not worth life.
Hmm.
But it's still you cannot say that, it's not a human life. It has not changed species. It's still a human life. It's at a different stage of life, but it's still a human life. It's going to grow throughout. It's going to take all of us take we go to fetuses to child to adolescent to
Okay,
adult, teenagers,
okay.
adult.
So
What
then,
do you,
so then do this. So then, take that the baby out at whatever stage you're talking about. With the mother doesn't want it, take it out, and then y'all raise it up. Raise it up, let it go through the rest of the stages outside of that mother and let her move on
I
with her
heard
life. And then when you do that, you tell me if that thing survives
I heard
without her.
this argument again. It still goes against my argument of abortion. I'm saying you have no right to take that out. You telling me to take it out. I don't have a right to
Don't
take it
abort
out.
it.
That's still the same thing. I don't
Don't abort it.
have the right
No, no,
to
no,
go
no.
in that.
Don't abort it.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I do not have the right, nor does a doctor have the right to go inside that woman and snatch that baby out. I'm preventing the doctors from doing anything. Nobody, not even me. I
Mm-mm.
don't have the right.
The
So
mother has
what
the
was
right
that?
to consent to that, just like a wife has the right to consent for her husband in a vegetative state to be taken off the plugs. And I don't hear people trying to pass laws about
Tip,
that.
I'm asking you, if nobody does anything, what's going to happen?
Take the baby
If
out,
nobody does anything, what happens?
raise it, raise it, don't abort it, take it out, let that heart keep beating without the mother, and you raise that baby until it goes through the rest of
If
the
nobody
stages.
Okay.
does anything, what happens?
Will it survive? Will it
If
survive?
no,
I just want to know, will it
I
survive?
got you. If nobody does anything, what happens?
Okay.
If nobody does anything with
Or
what?
if a woman,
When you
if a
take the baby
woman gets
out?
pregnant and nobody does anything, what happens?
Oh, many
What?
things. She could have a
What commonly
miscarriage.
happens then?
She could have an ectopic pregnancy. Um, Many things can
Okay,
happen.
boy, we don't.
As a
What's
matter
the
of
most
fact,
likely thing that's gonna happen?
that baby could make it. That baby could make it to. Well, it depends on the
I'm
woman.
asking you, what's
It depends on the
I get
woman.
that. What's the most likely thing? What's
More
the
than
more
likely,
common thing that's gonna happen?
more than likely, More than likely, depending on who you ask and what their health history is, they could say more than likely I'm a
So
miscarriage
maybe
because of my health
miscarriages
history.
are more
I'm
common
gonna
than having a baby.
miscarry because of the health, because of my, no, I'm saying it depends on the woman that you ask and her
Hey, let me.
health,
I'm
because this is a medical
Tiff,
Hey, let
thing.
me
what
interject.
I'm
Let me
asking you,
interject.
Tiff, is if a woman gets pregnant, are you saying it's more likely she have a miscarriage than have the baby? So the
No, that's
most
not what
likely
I
thing that's
said.
going to happen, she is going to have the baby naturally. So the only force that
No,
is,
that's not what I
what do you
said.
think is the most thing that's if a woman get pregnant, what is the most likely outcome?
It depends on the woman and her
I
health
I
history.
I can
That
see
is unique. That is unique to that
I can
mother.
see you guys. I can see it on that point. I think the most likely thing that will happen is that she will have give birth. I think it is cases that she will. She can have miscarriages. There's a lot of things that can happen. But in most likely scenario, most common, that's going to happen, she's going to give birth. So the only force that is taken upon this is abortion. The only force. If you do nothing at all, we in the cave, and that woman is by herself and on her own, the baby's going to come. Most likely. The only force that can be involved is a doctor going in and taking that baby out. He is forcing himself upon
With the mother's consent. With the
it.
mother's consent. This has nothing to do with anybody else but that mother and her
And then,
daughter.
all right, so let me ask you this: if I'm laying dead if I'm in pain on my deathbed, and I get a doctor consent to kill me, does he have the right to do that? They call euthanasia. Yeah, he does not have
Euthanasia.
the
I
right
know
to
what
do
that
that.
is.
So
Hey,
we
Corey.
remove the
Hey,
doctor's
Corey.
right to do that. That's
Hey,
the
hey.
same thing I'm saying.
All right, so I appreciate it, Tiff. All right, we got to move. We got to move to the next part. The
Hey,
next.
Tiff, I'm gonna call you back after this show go off, and we can continue this argument. All
All
right.
right.
All right, so here goes the next thing, right? So we're gonna go into the next part of the show. All right, this isn't. What about the part that's not even when you take away the morality of the song, right? And break down the fact that this is the government removing rights. Because I know your stance on things. So when you take out the morality and the fact that the government is making decisions on human rights, on taking away people's rights, how do you feel about that, Corey?
Do I don't think it was ever a right. Sometimes government get it right, wrong. Once upon a time, a person had the right to keep a slave. But you could say when they made black people free, you getting rid of rights. But at the end of the day, something was found out to be morally wrong. So at the end of the day, if the government has got it wrong, it was not a moral right. It was not right from the beginning for it. So rights change all the time. It does not matter whether your rights move every day. So acting like this is one thing unique to the equation. Everybody loses right and gains right all the time. If we're gonna act like the government does not infringe upon our rights, that is a lie. Happens all the time. So this is I do not agree with this being a right. I do not think anybody has the right to end a human life. And that's
Okay.
it. That's what my stance is.
Here goes something else that we're seeing all over the country now. When a state decides to uh, ban abortion, what happens is those providers they pack up, they leave the states with the bans, and they take their expertise and manage high risk pregnancies, routine deliveries. Uh, I mean, they deal in this type of trauma type situation, right? They take their expertise and they go to places in which they can practice, and you're taking another resource away from these states. Now, I know that again because the morality is what comes second to that. My question to you is: Do you think that this is something that we should be concerned about? Because what'll end up happening is people who go to school and they go to school to practice certain things. They're not going to want to practice in a place that they know that they can't practice.
Mhm.
And people who have the expertise in dealing with these high risk pregnancies or things like this, they're going to pack up and go places where they can practice. So, do
Mhm.
you think that even matters at all?
Yes, I see. When we go to the fact of, I guess you talking about when Roe versus Wade was overturned, what it did, it pushed it back down to the state. So every state makes its own individual laws how they see fit. So what Tiff is saying about Alabama, of course, I disagree with Alabama, and I would vote against that law if that law was brought forth to Virginia. They're saying a woman that would have an abortion would be on death. No, I will vote against that. At the end of the day, I'm not for the death penalty at all. Hamp knows that. I'm not for the death penalty at all. So that's not even the debate. So do I agree? I agree with Roe versus Wade being pushed out to the state because I do not think a woman's right to abortion is directly written in the Constitution. So I think states should decide because at the end of the day, we are different by states. What goes on in Alaska does not go on in Virginia, does not go on in New York. We are different by our area, just by itself. So we have different beliefs in different areas. When you get to Virginia, our beliefs are more similar than California, than all those states over there. So I do agree with people building their own premise of laws. And if you don't like it, you can all just pack up and move somewhere else. If I don't like the laws that if Virginia gets so crazy with the laws and I don't agree with it, I'm pretty sure I can go through the chat and it's something that one of y'all would down the hill for. If they make that a law, let's say if they made a law that we had to get rid of all Bibles in Virginia, what I would do, I would pack up my family and I would move to a state that allowed my Bible. And that's just the
Okay.
way it is. I have the right to do so.
Okay. Now I'm asking. Now I'm ready to get into it. Now I'm ready to get into it. The next question I'm saying is that
Okay.
it's my opinion, and I may be the only one that has this opinion in here. But it seems like people are so concerned about these children's rights until they actually are conceived,
Mhm.
until they're actually born. Like someone just put in here, I just saw this comment that
It was
Virginia
Geneva
has was it 5,400,
59,
5,900 kids in the foster system.
5,400.
Yeah, we don't even want to give kids free lunch anymore.
Mhm.
Like this may be the only meal that kids get. Like we don't want to give free lunch. Like with the way things are going in the direction when it comes to the economic, you can argue you can argue the morality part. We can sit here and say what's moral, what's right, when a baby is a viable pregnancy, what's this and the third. But there's things that are tangible that we can really talk about. And the things that are tangible that we can talk about is the fact that the financial hardship of a woman bringing that baby, like it's her choice when it comes to that
Mhm.
financial hardship. And so, like, let's talk about poverty, and
Mhm.
let's talk about the fact that did you know that 60% abortions happen to people? I mean, 60% abortions are women who already have other children, so they know the process. They know what they
Mhm.
can afford. They know the
Mhm.
type of life they can provide for that baby. Like, why is it?
They ain't
What?
know it before they like we talking like this is something that just jumped in her womb. You
Oh,
made an active
Corey.
choice. At the end of the day, everybody makes an active choice, and there's consequences for your choice. I
Oh
do
my
not
goodness.
believe in any situation the solution. You're gonna right now. You're making an emotional argument. Like
Uh-uh.
I'm making a valid stance. You can approach my argument, or you can say it emotionally. I'm wrong for presenting it. But what I'm saying, when you make a choice, there are consequences for your choice. The child should not pay those consequences. Now, if you want to go on and say, yes, there are problems with foster cares, and I do not believe that solution is abortion in any circumstance. I do not believe abortion should be a solution for the problems that we have in foster care. We need
No.
to fix those problems. But to say, let's get rid of it by
Yeah.
just killing them in the womb is
Hey,
it's wrong. At the end of the day, let's say we can get rid of homelessness right now by killing all the homeless people and
yeah. See,
homelessness would not be a
see,
problem.
like you're
But that
making
is
an
not a
obtuse
solution.
argument.
It's not a
That
solution.
that's an obtuse argument.
Murder is not a
Like
solution.
Crystal, me and Crystal, we had an eye on this thing. And you can sit here and you can talk about, oh, she made a mistake, this, that, and the third, and she need to be accountable. My God, today you
I
made
didn't say she
mistakes,
made a
Corey.
mistake. I
Like you
said she
saying,
made
like
a choice.
she made
I
a
said
choice.
she made a choice.
But what I'm saying to you is,
I didn't say a
today,
mistake. No
today,
words.
today, you made a choice today that may not be something that you agree with tomorrow. It happens
Yeah,
every
but I
day in our
still got
life.
consequences. The consequences
Oh,
are not removed from
oh
my choice.
man, listen. If you have an
So there's
opportunity,
no consequences for
if you have
choice.
a no, what I'm saying is, if you have an opportunity to rectify something that is wrong, you take it in your life.
Huh?
If there's an opportunity to rectify some wrong that you've done,
And
you
what
take
I'm
the
saying,
opportunity to change it.
I agree with that. But the were you saying the choice to be to rectify is taking another human life? I'm saying that is not a choice. You keep removing that. Like I said before, you cannot remove what is being done here. A human life is being ended. I know most people might be numb to that fact. They might remove it. They might act like it's something that's not happening. But a human life is being etched out of existence that will never present again. They will never be brought back. Their life is ended because you don't know how to sit down and wear rubber. I had my child at 27. I was responsible. But if I would have had my child at 23, then I made a choice and I had to take responsibility for my choice. I do not believe my daughter should pay that responsibility. And we, at the end of the day, we act like solutions. I'm just saying, anybody that goes to the doctor and get that child up for adoption, we said 5,400 children are in adoption. Do you think that children right now saying that I wish I would be aborted? Because we can go back to Roe versus Wade. When Roe versus Wade happened, that child is still living. You can look at her right now. Thank God that that law was put in place. That
Okay,
child
my
that
turn
was
yet?
on the block.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So on Monday we had a topic and you jumped in and you said this. It might have been not have been Monday. It might have been, I forget what day. What
If
episode?
you bring it up,
was.
I've rectified it.
We talked about the gentleman that was holding the camera when Officer Chauvin had his knee on George Floyd's neck.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a conversation and I told you that, there's no way that I could stand there and allow it to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then you said that if I intervene in that, it's not that I saved his life, because at that point I just attacked the officer because we would have never known that he would have died.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? So again, that same argument that you had there, let's apply it here. Right. So okay. So when you're saying so when you're saying that those kids that are in the orphanage, you saying those kids, if you ask them would they rather be in the orphanage or would they rather have been aborted, that wouldn't even be a topic of conversation because they would. You get what I'm saying? It's the same concept. Now, so let's go to this. Let's go a little bit deeper into this thing, right?
Let's go deep.
All right. So when we talk about things, I am a firm believer, and I say this to you all the time. I believe that crime is a direct correlation with poverty. I don't think that when people say that black people end up in prisons, well, I ain't gonna say people say when black people end up in prisons at such a high rate, it's not because black people in themselves have a higher disposition for violence. That's not what happens here, Corey. What ends up happening is the correlation between being poor and crime is exact. Mm-hmm. So when like he said in the Chris Rock special, when Chris Rock said, if you have to ask the father for abortion money, you probably should be able to get an abortion. Because when it comes down to the fact, when you know that you cannot afford to have this child, and you make that decision, you know this at this point. And again, I could understand if with the conversation where we're saying, when is the abortion line at?
Yeah,
I understand that. If we were having a conversation about, okay, I agree with you. If a baby can live at 6 months, that's probably not the time to have an abortion.
I think that's always the conversation. At the end of the day, we all have lines, and we all vote on those lines to figure out what it is. Truthfully, my line, I do have a line. Truthfully, in itself, I argue against all abortions for the sake of argument. When a person that they force me to choose that line, because the minute I say 12 weeks, they were like, well, why 12 and not 10? Why 10 not? All right, so I just say no. But at the end of the day, I do have a line. Yeah.
Okay. So again, if we were having that conversation, I am open to the conversation.
Okay.
There's a time where, at this point, it's unethical to have an abortion. And I'm okay. You know what the real answer to this is? I truly believe if they change the name from abortion and say abortion is at this amount of time and it's a medical procedure at this amount of time, I don't even think we have to even have the debate.
No, it will always be a debate because it's still
because
a
it
moral argument. It's still
because
a moral argument. You
it's a
can't remove it
line
by
that
changing the name.
it's a line there because I mean at the end of the day, like this is just an advanced sperm cell at some
Mhm.
point, and then at some point it's a viable baby. You know what I mean? So like if you change the name to it, I mean it's that's my take on that. What was the next one we had up here? The next topic we had that we haven't got to. We got so sidetracked.
Now we skipped over one on women's body autonomy, and we did say Roe versus Wade. Support the decision to push back down to the states. Do y'all support the decision that at the end of the day, what happened with Roe versus Wade, that was cited in life, liberty, and property. The liberty part is what they took and said that was right for abortion. They said liberty. For you to have the right to the life, liberty. The liberty part say you have liberty. You're taking upon my liberty by refusing my right to do that. And what the judges said that does not stretch forth. That word does not stretch forth to the having the right to abortion. They saying it's not clearly written in the Constitution. So what they saying is let your state decide. At the end of the day, what Congress can do, they can vote on it, and that could be the proper stance, and they can get away
And,
with it.
and here goes. You know, I hate. I'm gonna tell you, man. You know, I'm so against Constitution debates. I think that. I mean, I think
Come
how
on, let's not
I
get into that topic.
I'm just saying, man. Like to be honest with you, like guys from 1775 sitting around the room making decisions on things that we're doing in 2023. Like that's it's crazy. It's crazy that we even resort back to that document. It's out of control. You know what? Speaking of certain things, like, do you know it? Well, of course you know, but there was times when God was asking for adult abortions, He was asking for people to abort their children as a gift to God. You know, these were more than viable pregnancies. These were children. Like,
Mhm.
but we're not going to use that we're not going to use that in 2023 and say, you know what? I should be able to abort my 16-year-old because this is what God said. Like, we understand at some point, like, times and things change. So when we resort
That's a
back to the
horrible
concept,
argument.
we'll go
That's
ahead
a
and
horrible
debate
argument.
it. Like I have
First thing,
I've read.
I'm gonna think is about the part with the Constitution. Again, I'm gonna state this again. That is an authoritative argument. That argument is a fallacy. You can look it up right now. Fallacies, a fallacy of authority. You're saying you're not challenging my argument I'm making. You're challenging the my right to make the argument. So you can say the people didn't have the right to put the Constitution in there, and that's the thing we live by. No, you got to read the Constitution and say what they wrote. Is it right or wrong? That's it.
It,
At the end
okay,
of the day, if I say, hold on, if I say smoking is bad for you, and you say, hey man, you not no doctor, you can't tell me what to do. No, I'm not saying I am a doctor. I'm saying is smoking bad for you or not. I don't have to be a doctor to make that statement. At the end of the day, when we read the Constitution, are the laws within the Constitution fair or just or not? That's it.
and,
It
and
doesn't matter about the person that wrote it or not.
okay. So the answer to your question in regards to the Constitution, do you know how many years after the Constitution was written when they said that all men were created equal?
It did.
That you got to become 3/5 of a man.
The
How many years
Constitution is
after that?
revised all the time.
So
The
what I'm
Constitution is
saying to
revised all
you,
the time.
so what I'm saying to you, it is obviously a contradiction when it's all humans are created equal, but inward go there and set that fire and go set the
So
fire for the stove. Like that happened then.
hold
So
on.
like you know that
What I say is
it's
the
ridiculous.
Constitution is the same thing they built that law upon. When he looked at it, he said all men are created equal. This is written in the Constitution. That means black people are free. So he took the actual Constitution to write in the 14th Amendment to free black people because it was in the Constitution. So you complain it, the words in the Constitution, the same thing that you complain about, saying that is in there, is the same thing that made black people free. What he cited is all men are created equal. That's in the Constitution. That means black people are equal and should be free. And that's what the 14th Amendment is built around. So at the end of the day, the Constitution is written. So you got to challenge the words, not the people, because people do wrong all the time. What I'm telling you, The law got a lot of mistakes. You can correct the law, but most of the time it's people. People are the problem. So I'm not saying the Constitution is perfect. Nothing is perfect. We saying like it's easy to attack the Constitution, and it's easy. But what else do you want to put in place? What else do we live by? We all just living by a certain kind of standard that we believe is the best way forward. Every single state, every single country has the same thing, and they doing the same thing. And I'm pretty sure they imperfect. None of them
Hey,
perfect.
hey, I'm gonna tell you
Your
like this.
disagreement right now is with perfection,
No, it's not with perfection. It's every government job I've worked at some point we got to look at the policies and procedures, and we got to rewrite them things. Like every government job that I've worked at some
they
point,
change all the time.
at some point, the policy and procedures they become outdated.
And
They become
ways to
outdated.
put in amendments, just like they put in the 14th Amendment. Right now, Congress can put in a law to legalize abortion. They can put an amendment in the Constitution right now to legalize abortion, just like they put in the 14th Amendment to legalize us not being slaves. Everything that's in there, you can put into the Constitution, you can add it in. It's a way to put it in. But saying that it's just broken, it's ways to revise the Constitution. It's ways to change it. But you got to go through the certain ways and steps to change it, or they can remove any right. It's certain steps to go back, and that's what we do. We find out things. We find out the way that we're going to morally go forward.
Okay, like that. That's my stance on it. That's my stance on
We
it.
got
I may
17 people in here right now. Golly, we is booming.
Yeah. So again, man, like because it's a very difficult debate. But again, I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that feels like that Constitution.
I know.
You could
But
could set that thing on fire,
what I tell
and
people
I would
right
say the
now,
majority
what
of
do you
Americans would say, I don't care.
when you set the
I don't
Constitution
care.
on, hold on. When you set the Constitution on fire, every law would go out of order, and then you have to reset the laws. And
Mhm.
what do you go by to settle? What do
The
you go by
same
to
thing.
settle? What do you
The
put in
same thing
place?
they went by. What did they go by?
Huh?
What did they go by when
So
they
you
wrote
saying
it?
put another constitution? I'm saying what do you
Oh
put in
yeah,
its place?
another Constitution, Constitution 2.0.
What do you
Like
mean? Why we
we
don't
make it
just
seem
revise that constitution?
we make it seem
This
like they
is
were so
foolishness.
much smarter than
God,
everyone else. They weren't. They weren't that much smart. They weren't
I'm
so
not
much
saying they
smarter.
are. What I'm saying, this is the standard that we go by. We revise it all the time. We change it all the time. You saying, okay, take that
When
out
last
and
time
put
we
another
changed the code?
constitution in. It get changed every day. What are you talking about? Roe versus Wade just got overturned. They just looked at the Constitution and said they put amendments in all the time. What was what's name had to be medical care? All of these jumps revisions in the Constitution. It's changed all the time.
Mm-mm.
1992. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Again,
it's revision.
again,
I'm not saying that, but what you're saying, it's easy to complain about something, and people do this all the time, and they complain about it all the time. But what do you have to put forth in play? Because everybody have a different set of moral values and rights to live by, and it's all everybody, every country. It's not a name a country that's perfect. It's no one perfect.
that's not what they make. That's
It's
not
no
what they
one
made.
unperfect.
That's not what they.
I'm saying we have a set of problems within our country, just like every country does, and
Hey,
we change it all the time.
hey, George, I'm telling you, I agree with. I'm looking at George's his comment here about rich people laughing at us all the way to the bank. I'm gonna tell you these debates that we have, and the fact that we sit here and if you realize, because I notice it all around, like it's almost like there's a bit of a, I don't want to use the word woke or anything. There's like an awakening when people are looking at things objectively and not saying that this is the way that they have always been. Like no, like that, like no, like at some
That's
point
not
you
what I'm
look at
saying.
you look at it and you say, all right, like if the things that were written right now based off of what is going on in 2023,
Mm-mm.
like if we looked at them, I think that if we looked at them objectively, we would probably write them differently. We probably would think differently because
Yeah,
right now is a much different time than back then. It's a much different time. You
and
just can't live your life like that. You can't
what
live
I'm
your life like
saying,
that.
there are systems in place right now to change those. It's not like the Constitution cannot be changed. It's ways to go about change. It's not easily changed. The reason why it's not easily changed because good rights can be taken away, like freedom of speech. If it was easy to change laws, then that could be taken out.
Mm.
And it's not supposed to be easy because at the end of the day, these laws are put into place to protect everybody as a whole. If you disagree with them, at the end of the day, everybody can put forth change. And I'm not saying that the Constitution is perfect. I don't believe it's perfect. But I'm saying, just saying that is broken just because it has imperfections. Everything has imperfections, but we got to put forth something. And we, at the end of the day, we trudging along trying to make it better as we go along. Everybody is. But I feel like it's always our country is the worst country on earth. And I don't
That's
believe
not.
that's so. I
That's not
believe
it,
that
man.
we have problems like everybody else, and we move towards to trying to correct those problems together as one nation. And
Yeah.
it might be tough. We got problems that we deal with that other nations don't deal with. We got plenty of things that that's unique to the United States.
Hey, what's happening, Rick? What's happening, Ricky? Uh, Listen, man. I don't think that America is the worst. I look at America like a toxic girlfriend that has potential.
Mhm.
It's like she has potential to change. Like she really could be. She really could be the one. But we gotta fix a few things here. We gotta fix a few things in order to make this thing work. And we're at that point where it needs to happen. But
I would agree with that.
okay, so you ready to close this thing out, Corey? We done already went over the 110 mark. I know these folks
Hey
got.
man, ain't nothing wrong with that, man. They still in here rocking with us, man. We rocking with them, man. Yeah, rocking with
all,
them. I
all right,
enjoyed this episode though.
all right. So and listen, I'm gonna go ahead and say this because it's been on my heart for 2 days to say. Yesterday, make a long story short, I went to a school board meeting. It's my first time ever doing it, and I went to a school board meeting for my own personal reasons. But I noticed a few things. When I looked at my school board representative, I didn't see the representation that I would hope to have, and I realized the first thing is that's our fault because um, we go out and we vote for Obama to make America great, but we don't vote at the levels in which we should vote and really pay attention to that. The second thing I'm gonna say is I noticed that there was nobody there that looked like me that was even caring about the school board. And so, again, it made sense to me that there's no reason why they should make decisions in my favor or anybody that looks like me because one, we don't show up. Two, they don't care about our vote. So they're gonna do whatever they're gonna do because we won't start mattering until we realize that representation matters. And when we talk about showing up, we got to show up for that part too. We got to show up. That's pretty much what I got. What do you think about it, Corey?
I'm gonna echo on that. I definitely agree with that 100% with my brother Hamp. And like I say most of the time, I think as black people, the biggest thing we can do for ourselves is help ourselves. Don't look toward anybody else. Let's come together as one and do this thing and move together. And like he said, it starts with us going into these jumps and meeting at our own school systems. We can make a voice, but we can't complain about the things that's in place if we're not going to do things to change it. And I definitely echo that. And we can go there and make it. But like he said, you said I couldn't go, right?
No.
Because I'm not a part of Chesapeake.
Yeah, man. Because I'm gonna tell you, like I said, I learned something that it's a big debate in Chesapeake. I'm just going to throw it out. We don't have time to get into this debate because we're gonna play nice before we get out of here. But
Mhm.
this is what ended up happening. So I went there and I noticed that there was a lot of people there that were there, and this was the biggest thing that they were talking about at Chesapeake. I don't know if you guys have heard about the Satan Club. Have
Yes.
you? All right, so
As most people here probably heard about.
I hadn't heard about it because again,
You
I
just
am
heard
I
about it.
I am uneducated about this. I am uneducated. Oh, so Glenda, so what they did was because this whole Satan Club thing is such a big deal, the city of Chesapeake has decided they want to only allow Chesapeake residents to show up to their school board meetings. They just because
Well,
Chesapeake is the battleground for everything, so they want to just leave it to Chesapeake people. That's the reason why I said that you
Janetta
couldn't show
posted
up.
something in there. She said, meetings are usually open to the public. You may not be able to speak during a public forum
Yeah,
if you aren't a resident. So I would
yeah,
say, at least going there with you, I'm another body. Even though you
yeah.
can speak, I could stand there as a backing to you.
Oh,
I
I
may not
appreciate
be
that.
able to speak, but at least I'm there as another body in support of you.
Yeah. So All right, so here goes the thing with the Satan Club,
Yeah.
real quick. So there was a group of Christian parents that were there saying that they wanted to get rid of the after school Christian choir. They wanted to get rid of it. They wanted to be removed from the school. And the reason why they wanted to be removed from the school is because the Satan Club was using the exact same argument that if they can have a Christian club meeting at on the school premise, then we should be able to have a Satan Club meeting. Now they had their first meeting last month. They had their first meeting last month, and one of the gentlemen said he pulled up in his car and he watched them, and it was 16 adults and three children, three elementary age children, and he asked the question: what good could 16 grown men be out there doing with three children and then actually really claiming evil? Like to really be claiming Satan and claiming evil. He said these people have not had background checks. He's like, what type of human beings do you think showed up to this meeting?
Mm.
He said
The worst in
molesters
the
and all. He said the worst. He said
the
the
worst
worst
of
of
the
the worst.
worst.
He said the worst of the worst. So his proposal was, I am willing to get rid of the baby singing Christian music just to ensure that there is no other group meeting like this. And I'm gonna tell you, man, like when it's really said and done, like there probably is a reason why there's a separation of church and state. And I agree with that, man. Probably if the alternative is I have to allow pure evil. I mean, these people are literally on demon time. They're literally on demon time. And like if I have to allow my kid to have to deal with it, I'd rather just remove all of it. If that is the solution, I want to remove all of it.
I think that's probably the goal of the whole situation. That was the
That,
overall goal. They don't even care about the same club. The overall goal is to get to attack the church. The same way they want to remove that Christian John. I can get Christianity out of school just by showing up in the Satan club because to get rid of me, you want to get rid of them. And overall, I won. That's the ultimate goal is to get rid of the church, not to build their own, but to get rid of us. But as I
and
said,
listen, that's what and that's what the people were saying.
fight the good
They were
fight.
saying they were saying that when they voted on this, and again, because I have not been a citizen that has been active and listening. They've been voting on this for a while. They've been voting on this for a long time, and what the school board has said is just SQS to them, they'll go away. Just like you said, because they're only here.
I didn't say they'll just go away. My
But
my thing is,
they're
I
not going
think
away.
I don't think it doesn't matter to me. What my ultimate goal is, I don't I'm not a person to silence people. At the end of the day, if they want to have a Satan club, they want to stand up. I think it's exposing them and making them stand out. I would rather a person. We say this all the time. I would rather have a racist person exposed than have a racist person quiet. At the end of the day, if they want to stand up, say it proud that they represent Satan, that make it all the more easier for me to be able to know who I'm dealing with.
Hey,
So
look
if you
here,
want to
man.
call yourself part of Satan club, thank you.
No,
It's
see,
easier for me to know.
and again, because I said I didn't want to debate it because we're about to hit that 120
Yeah.
mark. What I want to say is this: there's kids that still believe in Santa Claus. They still believe in the Tooth Fairy,
Mhm.
and you're saying that it's good for them to be exposed. I mean, you have to protect those babies' eye gates and ear gates. And I'm telling you, you may say that it's good for us to see it out in the open. No, they need to hide in
No,
their
I think
closets. They need to hide in their closets and do what they do in their own place where it's okay. I don't want it out in the public. I
I
don't.
just think is a we many people disagree on what should go in children's eye gates and ear gates. Who is the deciding factor of what goes in? Just like I believe my child should hear about the gospel. Somebody else might not. Somebody might think their child should hear about Satan Club. Somebody should. At the end of the day, we're fighting to decide what our children should hear. Who is to decide that? And that's what we go back to the same fact. Everybody has a different perspective on something and different beliefs. And we're going through our society trying to figure out what's the right way. And you might feel
Gotcha.
like one is wrong, but we disagree on that. I mean, how do we figure that out? How do we go
Hey,
forward?
I say if again, if I have to make a choice, I'd rather have nothing than to have them there,
Yeah.
and it's an easy choice. It's an easy choice.
Have nothing. So no
I'd
after
rather
school program.
I listen. If that
No
means I gotta
debate
get,
club.
if I gotta get rid of the basketball team,
Golly,
I don't
bro.
want the Satan Club nowhere around my boy. I get rid of the basketball team. I don't care.
Yeah, but it's not your child going in the Satan club.
Listen, I don't want it nowhere near the school. I don't want it nowhere over there. I don't want the people that participate in it on the premise. I don't want none of it. But with that being said, what are your closing arguments, man?
Basketball. Janelle said the basketball team.
You get rid of all of it.
Get rid of the basketball team.
Get rid of the mascot. All right, man. Let's close this thing out. We gotta go, man. We gotta go.
All right. Thank you for all of you tuning in. We kept y'all up through the wee hours of the night. Been on an hour and 20 minutes, but we thank y'all for coming in, man, and joining in and your comments. Thank you for your supports and all of what y'all do. Join in again. I think we come back on Friday, right? Hamp? Coming right back on to y'all on Friday. We're gonna build another episode.
Man.
But thank you.
It's Thursday.
Thursday. I'm sorry, I'm wrong. That's why I asked the man that knows all in the
Thursday. I don't know all of it, man. I don't know all of it. Throw the baby out with the bathwater. Yeah, man.
Golly. But yeah, thank y'all, man. Be blessed.
All right. And listen, man, again, like I said, thank y'all again, just like Corey said. Hey, I can't believe not one of y'all sent that man a single email, a text, a comment. Nobody wanted a shirt yesterday. I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. And we ain't getting one.
Let me show it again.
Yeah, plug that thing in, man.
So this is the one for the females. Is Girly Man. It's a now avid viewer of the Much About Nothing podcast. And then we have Manly Man shirts. And that's the same way avid viewer of the Much About Nothing, male avid viewer of the Much About Nothing podcast. Like I said, if you want a shirt, please send it to my email. It's CoreyHolman@gmail.com. It's in the comments. I'm pretty sure it's there. Just text me your size and I'll put it together and I'll get with you all about exactly what we need to do to go forward. But if you want one, just let me know. Y'all know how to reach out to me. Please reach out to me. If you can't do it there, connect some kind of way. I'm pretty sure you can contact him or me by cell phone, whatever it takes.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, either one of us, man. All right, no. So again, right now, I'm gonna go on through it. That thumbs up button. If you did not hit that thumbs up button, I'm upset with you. Hit the thumbs up button. Thing two. If your bell ain't on, I'm upset with you. Cut that bell on. And most importantly, if you're not loving yours, I'm upset with you too. Be sure you love yours. We out.